Good evening. First, we want to always extend the thanks to Almighty God, the creator, author, and finisher of everything. We were coming together today to give out some information in reference to the events that happened last night that started around 2 o'clock at 2614 Grand Oak Road in Franklinton. Yesterday afternoon, we received a phone call through 911 of a double shooting that occurred. A male and a female were shot by an individual later identified as Mr. Bradley McCurdy. Bradley McCurdy, M-C-C-U-R-D-Y. Mr. McCurdy fled the scene, at which time in a white pickup truck with a camper shell on it. Mr. McCurdy traveled down Highway 96 until which time he was turned off on Pine Ridge Road, at which time Granville County Sheriff's Office, North Carolina Highway Patrol executed a traffic stop and started a conversation trying to get him to exit the vehicle because he was a suspect in the situation. We had sent out a rave notification or an alert of shelter in place within a mile radius. Once we found out where he was, we reduced that through emergency communications to reduce the size and scale of the alert to shelter in place. We then started the process of starting a command center. We started to cordon off the area, set up a perimeter. We started to evacuate residents in the area, knocking on doors, making sure that people understood. We stopped traffic on Highway 96 in both directions to expand the perimeter, at which time we activated our SWAT team, our SRT, spun up our resources. And because of the situation where the vehicle was located, I needed additional resources, so I called Mr. Sheriff from Durham. Sheriff Burkhead, contacted him, asked him if he could split up his resources. We had an MRAP on scene, but we needed another vehicle, so we contacted Durham, which I am always grateful to Mr. Burkhead, Sheriff Burkhead and his team. They spun up their resources, responded to the scene. We had spent about 4 hours through hostage negotiations, and in our negotiating team on the phone with them. I spoke to him, an initial phone call, and then I transferred it over into Sergeant Oakley, and then SBI got on scene. Their hostage negotiators took over. We want to always thank the response that Durham brings to the table, and I'm forever grateful for that. So we stayed on the phone with him and his family and his relatives and friends for approximately 4 hours, at which time we made a determination that we had to start kind of putting things in motion to press this situation. We moved our command center. We scaled back, moved the command center to Brassfield Fire Department, and we want to thank them for what they did for us, hosting us last night. And then we just do an operational plan. So in that operational plan, Durham County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Burkhead, Major Cody, Captain Webster, Chief Buster, we began to strategize how we're going to take this situation and handle it. And we developed a plan. We checked all our boxes, and we continued to wait this individual out, at which time he started calling his family members to let them know that he was going to take his own life. We tried to extend anything we could to him, and after all those options were kind of exhausted, around 10:30, we heard a gunshot. We flew our drones in. We saw that his injuries, Durham County Sheriff's Office took their Sentinel that has a probe camera, pulled up to the front of the vehicle. Our MRAP pulled up. Our team initiated the response. Chief Buster and them led the team to the driver's side door. We saw through the Sentinel optics that he had sustained a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Our deputies pulled him out of the vehicle, began life-saving measures on him at that time, secured the firearms, got emergency. Once we got the scene secure, we went ahead and called EMS in, and they transported him to a local hospital. As to the first shooting, when he shot the two individuals at the home, it's an ongoing investigation. We're not going to release their names. They're still in critical condition. They're still alive. The young lady was shot twice in the back of the head. The young man was shot once, but they're still alive. And again, the suspect has succumbed to his injuries and he died last night. But the same thing we did there, once the scene was safe, we called EMS in to come and treat those, because we don't know what scenes we're walking into, but we made sure EMS was safe before they even got on scene. But again, North Carolina Highway Patrol, Brassfield Fire Department, ALE, Director House, Dr. Halsey from SBI, Again, Durham County Sheriff's Office, Brassville Fire Department. Am I forgetting anybody, Chief? I think that's everybody. And our men and women at Granville County Sheriff's Office did a phenomenal job. The weather conditions were cold last night. They laid in the woods. Our canines did a great job. But again, it was a cooperative effort to bring the situation to the best conclusion and circumstance we could have brought it to. We wish it could have turned out a little better. They did not. That was by the making and choice of the individual that we were dealing with. At 2:30, when we contacted him, he started making those conversations then that he was going to take his own life. He didn't want to hurt law enforcement, but we still tried to communicate with him to resolve it a different way. Sheriff Burkhead. Cool. Any questions? I will not address and give out the names of the people that are still survived. I can only give you the suspect's name.
About those two people who survived, you said that they're alive right now. What do we know about their conditions? Are they expected to live?
She's in fair, he's in critical.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Sheriff. I'm Cindy with ABC 11. We have learned that maybe one of the victims has drug charges. We've also looked at court paperwork of McCurdy. Are any of those individual charges, I guess, is that relevant to the investigation?
Everything is relevant so we can come to what we need to know. But we know they had an intimate relationship, McCurdy and the young lady did. At some time that relationship was severed. We know that already. But to the extent of the rest of it, we cannot speak to that. It's an ongoing investigation. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, sorry.
You're quick.
And then also, do all the parties know each other? That's what we were told.
I can't confirm or deny. I know the man and the woman did. We don't know about the other individual.
Are you able to speak to motivation at this point or what led up to shooting?
No, ma'am.
In general, how do you approach negotiations like this? It's very difficult. What are the risks that you take and how do you approach it sensitively?
Well, for us, it's different because we have a small network in a community. So when I found out, first thing I did was call him myself. I told him, give me the number. I called him. And then I started that conversation because I want people to trust in the sheriff's office no matter what you do, no matter what day it is, what happened. I want you to trust that we're going to try to bring to a resolution in a positive way. So once I established the relationship and I started those conversations, I then turned it over to one of our detectives, Sergeant Oakley, and then they partnered with SBI and they sat in a vehicle and we walked out and showed him that I was there. And that's the thing, he wanted to see me and he wanted to have that conversation and he apologized for the whole process of me even have to come out there to deal with that situation. So we just go through the professional steps of, one, establish a rapport. Two, see who has the best rapport with that individual. And just so happens, Sergeant Oakley had the best rapport. So then he partnered with SBI, and they talked to him for 4 hours. You're good?
Anything else you can add? Or any of you can add?
Well, I'm going to say this. Durham, and I'll get out the way, Sheriff. Sheriff Burkhead is a mentor and a friend. So when I tell people this, and I said it last night, with the partnerships and relationships with Captain Webster, Major Cody, I could not have been more surrounded by a great group of individuals than these individuals here. From the tactical response, from the assets that they bring, from the educational training, doing these active situations, we learn from each other. And I always tell people there's no one person in the room smart as the collective. And I'm surrounded by great people. And I'm just blessed to have it.
What he said. Couldn't have said it better. Yeah.
Could I
Thank you, sir.
I was going to throw in one more question. The amount of people who were evacuated from that neighborhood, do you have a number?
Because of the timing, a lot of people weren't home. And even with the weather and school being out, a lot of people weren't home, but we went to all the doors in that surrounding area. Chief Buster actually went to one door. The people said, no, we'll stay to the front of the house, and that's the road right on 96. The young lady, I think she's been reported on one of y'all news channels. Chief Buster and a couple of guys went to the house, brought her out the back door with her 1-year-old baby or something like that. He walked her through the woods. Our team walked her, surrounded her, walked her to the car, put her in his truck, and then took her down the road to her father, I believe. So we did everything. I think we started checking all the boxes, and we always went over the plan 3 or 4 times. 3 or 4 times. Major Cody, did we check all the boxes? Cap, did we check all the boxes? So we went through that process, rehearsed it over and over again, the easiest to the worst case scenario. And like I said, Granville County did a great job. Granville County EMS did a great job. Everybody did everything, and I couldn't be more pleased in the outcome of what we did. But it's sad that we had to have this process even happen. But to know the response that we have is the thing I'm more pleased about. The suspects, I talked to his daughter last night around 11, and she was dealing with the situation. His brother, or half-brother that lives here, we spoke to him, I think, later on that night. We had to deal with some situations, and we just don't want to say anything about the victims at this time. Cool.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.